Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to the channel. You have Digital Asset Hutch here, going over all of that U.S. economy and digital asset questions you have. And today we're going to kind of go over that CPI and federal funds rate data we did talk about on Saturday. And that's kind of the goal for these videos throughout the week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We want to bring you videos that bring those topics we talked about, the ones that kind of just touch the surface, and we want to bring those to you in the following week to kind of dive into them so you can actually get a real understanding of what we are talking about. So we're going to go ahead and kind of cover that CPI and federal funds rate that we did talk about. And the goal for today would just be, what is it? How often does this data come out? Why and where does it affect the markets? And then kind of just going over the data itself like we did on Saturday, just for a little bit more of an in-depth review, and then tie that to the federal funds rate so you know how they do interact with each other. So obviously the first kind of thing of what is CPI data, and that is kind of the measure of change in prices over time, just that you and I would be spending on. So like over the course of the year, how much did that egg increase in price, and then that percent is relayed on that graph. So as you can see, prices typically for just all of the items went up about 6.5%. Now we can go into this data here and see exactly where and what items did increase, which is kind of the main thing we do need to look at, and what I kind of want to show y'all here today, because we can see here that that 6.5, it did decrease from that 7.1, so we did have that 0.6 percent drop. Now, just because that is dropping, that doesn't mean that your prices that you're paying are dropping, because it is still increasing by 6.5%. So that means your prices are going up by 6.5% over the last 12 months. So just because you see that the number is decreasing, that actually doesn't mean that your prices to buy goods are decreasing as well. So just something also to keep in mind for y'all. So kind of let's dive into the numbers, and we're going to highlight kind of the things that we did last time, where if you look, the fuel is the main area. Fuel and energy is the main area that led that decline in CPI data this last release. So why is that important? Because if it's really only fuel that's bringing it down, and that could just be, oh, the government is responding to that shortage we had. They're responding to that, whenever we had the snowstorms last December, we couldn't pay for energy to keep the lights on in some states. So it could just be that that initial shock that we had back 12 months ago is finally getting washed out, which is why we see a drop in that specific field and not really others. But this could be a good leading indicator, because fuel kind of drives everything. Fuel, you need it to make food. Fuel, you need it to ship things. Fuel, you need it to travel, get it on a plane and go somewhere. So just by this, meaning by this going down, it could be good for us in the future. And I kind of want to tie that back to just, looking at it right here. You kind of see we were starting, we had a nice raise, and we're starting to climb up to 1.2% in March. And by no means am I going to call a drop in March, but as you can kind of see, if you're going up to 1.2, that following month, if you went up and you probably doubled from 1.6 to 1.2, once you doubled that next month, you could probably see a decline. So possibly expect a decline in April just from that sheer high jump. And then also, you might see those fuel prices dropping, starting to affect other areas of inflation. So you could start seeing some of your food prices not go down, but you could see that inflation drop for it, just because it costs less to travel. So I do see maybe in the near term that we won't have as big of a price drop of 0.7, 0.6%. Now, when we get to that March and we might drop from that initial huge hike up, that might change, but don't expect a nice 0.6 incline over that next couple months. It's just not realistic in my mind. Now, when can you expect this data to come out? You can expect it to come out around the 10th to the 14th of every month. They typically kind of do it at 8:30 of that second week of the month. So yeah, that's just kind of the schedule. I wanted to give this to y'all so you can kind of keep your eye on it in future months, because as you can kind of see, just based off of the Dixie. The Dixie had a nice reaction to it going down. As you can see, the S&P had a nice jump, as well as Bitcoin also had a nice jump. So as you can see, just throughout all of the markets, they do go up. Or the markets do go up when we do see that inflation go down, just because more people have money to spend. And then the very last thing I do want to cover for y'all here is just how it does affect that federal funds rate. So obviously there's not going to be a change in this federal funds graph for you from the last time I showed, because it does get released. The data does get released. As you can see, it will be released in about 17 days. So we will definitely have a video covering that more in detail when that comes up. But you can see here that they're expecting a 0.25 hike, which is actually less than what was last time. So this data coming in is pretty positive. Now, by no means do I think they're going to be stopping these base point hikes anytime soon, because the feds did say that they were trying to get that to 5 to then before they start bringing it down. So I mean, I do think that they are still going to have these interest rates hike up. They're not just going to start immediately turning it around because that CPI data was low. But yeah, just wanted to go ahead and share this information with y'all. As you can see, they do expect a nice 0.25 basis hike over the next couple of meetings, maybe the next two, and possibly that May meeting is the one to really look out for. So that's all the information I have for y'all today. If you did learn something here today, go ahead and drop a like on that video and subscribe, and stay tuned for the videos next time on Wednesday or Friday. And I hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and you can enjoy that New Year's of ours.